What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 180 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. New subscribers, be sure to hit that bell so you always get notified when those new videos drop. Also, be sure to join the Discord. I'll have a link in the description below. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. We're going to be picking up where we left off in the last episode, trying to wrap up this green room, farm slash park, and I think in the end of the episode we'll be popping on the outside of the ship to get just a little tiny bit of work done. But regardless, let's just kick back, relax, and jump right into it. We've got about a 28-minute episode. Now, I do want to rewind and show this off because I don't think I did this in the last episode. I think I did this between episodes. So we're going to be adding a pillar in our kind of like a divider to come into this area of our farm. So it's going to be the fourth block down. So go 1, 2, 3, fourth. This corner block, we're literally just going to be doing a wall of white concrete, or blocks of white concrete going straight up. Alright, so now that we've got that in place, we're going to start to clean up our roof a little bit. I want to make sure that with what we're adding here, that we have enough room to walk up forward. So you could either do one of two things. What I'm doing here is I'm just moving my floor back by one. We could have just moved the wall or the ceiling back or forward by one. But with those half slabs, just want to make sure that we can walk downwards if we need to. Alright, we're just going to cover this up. Okay. That's looking pretty good. The only thing I don't like is that tree's like right there when you walk in. It's like right up on it. We might be making an adjustment to that. Yeah, because it was cool having the tree there, but it's just like, it wasn't like in the way because we could walk in with no problem. I didn't like the clutter about it. Um, we're going to have to move this walkway now as well, or excuse me, not the walkway, the bench, so that we have room for our walkway. Okay, the entryway point's looking pretty good. Really what we need here is a railing to go along the side to divide our farm from our park to the side here. And I think that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. But that's definitely what's missing for sure. So I think what we're going to end up doing here is I don't want to sit here and spin our tires. We're just going to go forward just a little bit. Alright, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're going to start working on our mess hall. As you can see, I've got a sign there indicating that's what we're going to be building, the mess hall. I mean, all jokes aside, it is not a bad idea to put signs down to establish what you're going to put there. This can help you to get more organized with what you're going to do. It's not something that I really talk about at all when I'm doing my tutorials, but this is something that I started doing on the Enterprise D because of the scale of the ship. I started putting down signs, just like this one right here, to establish what was going to go there, just so I wouldn't forget. Normally, I wouldn't do something like that. See, you can see all my bees up there that escaped. We're going to have to kill all those guys. There's like 3 of them up there in the corner that got away. But yeah, I mean, because of the scale of the Enterprise, I really had to put some signs up to establish what different areas were going to go where. I probably could have even gotten away with not even having that recording, this part of the recording session in here. I apologize for that. So anyway, we're going to be working on the mess hall now. Now that we've sat there and stared at the sign for 4 minutes on my end, but I fast forwarded so this way you guys didn't have to go through it. But no, we're going to use our corridor here to kind of help us dictate the shape of the room, that the back wall is going to be going at a curve. You don't have to have a super huge room for the mess hall. Kind of the way that I've chalked it down to is that not everybody is going to be coming in to eat at the same time. They'll be coming in probably in shifts. So you really just need a normal size room to build out for your mess hall. But especially for Galaxy class, you want to make sure that it's big enough to where it looks like you can seat a fair amount of people. Well, one thing I can say is that this room doesn't come out bad. And this isn't something that you're going to hear me say often. I'm still going to show it for the tutorial, but I actually wasn't thrilled with how my mess hall came out. I think that all the rooms and interior that I've done for the Enterprise D so far have come out fantastic, with an exception of this room. And I think that came down to is that when I was looking online, I couldn't really find any references to go off of that I would have been happy with. So what I ended up doing was that I actually just winged this room. Now, what I should have done, and this is a great opportunity to talk about how to correct a mistake, because it's not something that I do talk about very often, because 9 times out of 10 I'll end up getting the room done in one shot. Maybe it takes a couple to get it where it needs to be, but this is the first area that I actually haven't been satisfied with how it came out. But I've had some time now to think about what I should have done. And it goes right into something that I have talked about in the past, that sometimes the best thing to do is to borrow from different ships so that you can make your ship come out better. I think maybe what we could have done to make this area a lot better than what it came out as would be to borrow from the Cerritos mess hall. The Cerritos mess hall was fairly big, and even though it's a different class ship, the California class, it still has those elements from a Galaxy class. So to me, in that case, it would make sense that we could, in theory, if we wanted to, use the mess hall from the Cerritos on the Enterprise D, and it would work out just fine. If I had to go back and do it all over again, that's what I'd be doing right now. I'd be building out the mess hall to the Cerritos, and I think that it would have looked a heck of a lot better than what I came up with. And again, not that this is terrible, it's not, but again, it just doesn't, I don't think that this is the one room, it doesn't feel or look like it should. But that's okay. You're not going to get everything right when you're building these things out. There's always going to be one or two things that you're not 100% happy with. And unfortunately, just for me in this case, the mess hall ended up being that. Now, if I still had the save file, and I could go back and fix it again, the Cerritos mess hall is what I would have done. And we would have had we've got a decent amount of interior that's empty, so we really don't have to worry about the size of it being an issue. I think the one and only thing that might become an issue where I'm currently building the mess hall is that if I built out the Cerritos mess hall, I don't think it would have worked, because from what I've seen on the show, the mess hall to the Cerritos looks like a big square. And then in the center of the square, there's the bar / area where you can order or make an order on a replicator for your food. You can sit there, have a drink or whatever. But building it in that square grid shape like it looks on the show, I don't know that we'd have enough room to do that right here. So we'd probably have to move it somewhere else. But that's just something to think about, That's why, like I said, with these builds, do whatever you think looks the best. You might see me build out this room and decide, I don't know what you're talking about. I think this room looks awesome, and I'm just going to add this on and move on. There might be somebody else that maybe they're thinking of a mess hall from, I don't know, Voyager or any other show or movie that's come out in the past, that they might be able to adapt it and make it look good. And to that regard, I say go for it, do what you think is right. Do what you think looks the best, because at the end of the day, you're building it. And, I think beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So if there's something different that you want to do, I don't see any reason why you can't do it. I'm just trying to kind of throw in my 2 cents on what I could have done to fix this. But, it is what it is. Because it's crazy too, because I'm not even gonna lie, I will turn on my Xbox every once in a while and I will specifically load up Minecraft to see if the cloud has caught up with itself and if my save file has somehow just miraculously showed up. I have been able to get some of my older save files, but what's really weird about it is that it didn't back up anything prior to I think 2018 or 2019 or something like that. So basically everything after the Star Trek Beyond, the original Star Trek Beyond Constitution class retrofit that I did, that's the newest save file I was able to get. So I lost the Discovery, the Kelvin, the Disco Era Enterprise, the Borg Cube, the Cerritos, and the Enterprise D. Again, I'm still kind of flabbergasted how all that happened, because it was clearly saving my games, and I just assumed that cloud this whole time had been backing them up. But when I got that new Xbox and installed it, the closest, and what's weird too is that, and this is the only reason I have hope that maybe I might be able to get those older saves back, is because before, when I originally loaded up Minecraft on my new Xbox, I didn't have access to any of those saves, at all. And then slowly but surely some of the saves started coming in, and I was able to get on my original 2009 Enterprise save file that I had, which was the beginning of this world that we're on right now. And then I think a month or two later, that save file from 2018, 2019 came up, and it's oh my god, come on, you're just messing with my emotions here. I wish, I really do. I wish that I could get that save file back, because in a perfect world, let's say that it did happen, what I would probably do in that regard, if I was lucky enough to somehow get the save for the Enterprise D back, I would probably take a break from doing the Enterprise D, and I would do Voyager, and then I'd come back and do another season of the Enterprise D at a later date. But at this point, I think that's just wishful thinking. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. If it happens, cool. But at this point, I'm expecting not to get that save file back. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen because I've had this new Xbox for a couple of months now, and that save file from 2018, 2019 came up not too long after I had gotten it. So I think if it was going to come up, it probably would have come up by now. I think what's done is done. I just learned a valuable lesson, and that's make multiple save files on external hard drives. That's the way to go. Don't trust the cloud because it's going to screw you over, just like it did to me. That's honestly one of the things I'm kind of held up on right now, because I'm trying to decide where I want to build Voyager, whether I want to do that on PC or if I want to do that on Xbox. But I am going to rewind back here a little bit because I haven't been talking about this and I'm kind of just rambling on about other stuff. But you can see that it looks like we're building out 3 rooms. Our main room here to the left, which will end up being our mess hall. And then it looks like we have a room right here in the middle, and then a room here to the far right. This room here to the far right is actually just dead space. But this spot right here, this will end up being our kitchen. Sometimes one of the best things that you can do when you're, well, not one of the best things, in my opinion, the best thing that you can do when you're shaping a room together, you start with your foundations and you determine where your walls are going to go. And then once you have that established, you get your walls in place so you can see what it looks like. And this way you can essentially see what the room is going to look like before it is finished. You at least have the floor plan that's been completed. So this way, for whatever reason, if you're not happy with what you have, you can go in, make whatever changes you want to make before it gets too costly. In other words, before you get too far into the build where you're not satisfied with what you've done. Because that's one thing I've really tried to stress on this build anyway, that it's really important to take your time, especially on the Enterprise D, because the last thing you want to do is just start building a bunch of random crap, or just start building if you don't have a plan with what you want to do, because what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have to go back and make changes. And when you're working with a ship of this scale, making those changes can be very costly, in other words, in the time that it's going to take to do it. I've learned this the hard way myself, and this is why I'm suggesting this to anybody. If this is the first episode you're coming up on, you're not going to build this ship in a weekend. This is something that's going to take you a period of time to do. But the good thing about that is that if you're patient and you have the time here and there that you can put into it, this is something that can definitely be done. It's not impossible to do. If I can do this, honestly, anybody can do it. It's a matter of planning and learning how to build with blocks and how to make shapes come out the way that you want them to come out. I had somebody actually ask me the other day about layouts on the interiors and just general ship shapes, and I might actually end up doing a single episode tutorial on that, because I think that's something that not a lot of people realize, but believe it or not, most starships, they have very similar interiors. Once you learn the gust of it, it can become very easy to do it. But it's something that I haven't necessarily talked about in my videos, and I think that's something that I am going to end up doing, just because I think that would be very helpful for people that are new to building, that they don't have that experience doing it for the first time, or several times. But the only reason that again that I know it is because I've spent the better part of several years at this point, maybe up. We're at this point, we're approaching 10 years that I've been building on Minecraft with starships. And it's just you learn this stuff over a period of time, and you kind of, once you've done 3 or 4 ships, you kind of get the general layout of how your interiors are for, you know, your Federation ships. That's what I'm trying to get out. But nonetheless, we're looking pretty good today. We're cleaning up the edge of our corridor here so that we can get into our mess hall and down into the farm. We didn't have that set up. We're not reworking the wheel or anything. We're literally just capping off a corridor. So we're using the same design cues that we've used for this entire interior. So if you're getting stuck on your interior as far as the corridors go and like your hubs, then you may need to go back and watch some older episodes to kind of do like a refresh on what you need to do. But this is one of the reasons why I bring my design cues over room to room, on top of the fact that it makes your ships be more harmonious as far as how the designs look. You want that to be consistent room to room. And once you really start doing that, you're essentially, you're literally just using the same pattern over and over again, you know? So if you're getting stuck, just look at, to be honest with you, you may not even necessarily need to go back and watch some old episodes. Just look at your corridors and other sections of the ship. That's probably will be the easiest thing to do in that case if you are having trouble and you're getting stuck. But I really don't think anybody will be having too many problems with that. I think what we got going on here is pretty cut and dry. We're just establishing an archway point so that we can get into our kitchen, just like our little hub that's separating the corridor from the mess hall from the actual kitchen itself. You see we got a nice little window that overlooks the neck, and the right side pylon and the cell looks very cool. Like I said, decent amount of room, but again, you know, I'm not 100% on board with how this room came out. Alright, so now we're making another divider point. So I'm thinking that like maybe the back side of that room could be like a freezer, and then the front side would be the actual kitchen itself, maybe. That could work. Alright, so we're going to be transitioning off into the last part of today's episode. And it's been a while since I've done this part of the build, so I don't remember if we're going to keep this or not. But basically what we're going to be doing is we're kind of just going to be retreading from where we're working on the outside of the deflector dish. We're adding in some pinstriping to try to make the actual outline of the deflector dish hull area to have it more of a defining line. That's pretty much what we're trying to do here. Now, I don't know if adding this second line is really going to help do it, or if it's going to hurt it, but we're going to try it to see how it looks. And now when you're making these changes, you don't have to do the whole area. If you just like want to experiment and see how something looks, you really only need to do half just to get a good gauge of how it's going to look. And then once you have that half down, you can, I think that's honestly the best thing that you can do, because you can compare the left side of it to the right side of it and then make a decision on what looks better. So it's maybe not the best idea that I'm going straight across now, because now I don't have a reference point. And that doesn't look bad, but I think what's happening with this line up top is that it's making this whole piece feel a lot bigger than what it's supposed to be. Because we really want it to feel like it's, kind of transitioning downward, or excuse me, inward and backward. Um, and it's looking a lot bigger than maybe what it should. And now this is a good thing that I did this line here on the bottom, because I actually can spot out a mistake that I did, that my right side here doesn't match with the left side. You can see on here this concrete goes all the way back to that gray strip, and here that's not happening. This gray strip should be going one over, and then this white concrete should be going back one by at least one more. So now what I'm doing is I'm double checking my work, and this is where the mistake's happening, because that first block that I started with is one forward. And see, this is an easy way to check your work using these builder lines. If you're not sure, this can help save you a heck of a lot of time if you're having somewhat of a hard time picking up on where you made that mistake. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. What I just did just there, that doesn't look very good. And see, the whole problem with this lower line, this lower gray line that I'm adding, is that it's going to be hard to make that connect, to make it to connect to the row that's above it, because I'm trying to make two separate rows of that gray, but they're connected between the top and bottom. So we've got a little bit of an issue there, because we don't really have a way to connect the two. And what I mean here is that you have your lower side going along here, and you have your upper side here. So you literally, we'd have to do a row going straight in this way, and then that's going to add a cut line. But by doing that cut line, it's going to change the shape right here. Because that gray line at the bottom doesn't look bad. It makes the white stick out a little bit more. But again, that transition to make the two connect, that's going to be a problem. Is that what I just did right there? That's pretty much literally all that we can do in this case. And I just don't know if that's going to look good. Yeah, because see what that's doing now? It's making it look like it's cutting inward on the sides here. And I'm not really crazy with how that looks. I think we're going to end up removing that gray line that we just added. Like I said, I'm not really feeling that, and I'm not feeling this top line that we added here either. I think sometimes less is more, and this one that we had going on before was the way to go about it. But we'll come back to it. I think that we'll address that at least one more time, and then we'll be done with that and moving on. Just the last couple things that we have to do before we'll call this thing done. But I think that's going to wrap us up today. I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. New subscribers, don't forget to hit the bell. And you can always catch my new Minecraft episodes dropping Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you have any questions regarding today's episode, be sure to drop a comment below or in Discord. Definitely love hearing from everybody. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for me today. Just want to thank you all again for tuning in, and I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section. Post your pictures in Discord. I want to see them.